Hey gang, it's JC, and this is your Daily Dose for Friday, November 12th, 2010, a cooperative venture with Mind Active in beautiful downtown Brentwood. We have archives top of the page, we have eye candy archives at the bottom of the page, Dave Murray's weather forecast, and the audio on iTunes available for you anytime. You can get us on your mobile phone, and we're encouraging everybody to tune us in on the Big 550 KTRS every weekday between 10 and 1 o'clock. We have great stuff for you, including Eric Mink back with us on Tuesdays, and Smash is with us every Friday. We got a lot of good stuff too. We call it the Carousel of Co-Hosts. We hope that you are enjoying it. And also, if you're having trouble listening to the show because you're at work, you're just not available during that time of day, you can just download the app. It's free in some cases and costs you in other cases, but it's called TuneIn Radio, and on your smartphone for $1.99 you can get 40,000 radio stations, including the Big 550 KTRS, anywhere you can get internet access or 3G or 4G, depending on what you have. And there's also a nice little 2-hour record function. Just push the button and you record 2 hours of the show, so that sort of gets you out of the woods there in terms of being able to listen to the show at that time of day. Of course, we stream online at ktrs.com, and highlights are also available there. Just click on the audio tab. Friday being what it is, every Friday we have Mixtape Friday, and it's your chance to send in your 5 favorite songs of all time. And what we do is we pick a half a dozen or so every Friday, me and Smash, and then we play those songs in mixtape format, and then somebody, one of the ones that we choose, will pull one out, and somebody gets an iPod Nano and also a $50 gift certificate to Gallagher's in Waterloo, Illinois. They're going to have that great Thanksgiving Day feast out at Gallagher's again this year with all the turkey and the trimmings and the whole thing. 2 seatings. You should call over there and get the details on that. So on Channel 4 News on Tuesday night, let me just get this right here, they stated that a man had been exposing himself at the Murs Goodwill store. And then the reporter went on to say, and one parent was taking it into her own hands. Bad choice of words there, but, you know, what can you do? So when I'm trying to make people laugh, you know, if I say something funny on the radio or here on the Daily Dose or whatever the case may be, occasionally I'll really work on a line that will try to get some laughs, and I'll think to myself, yeah, I want to make them laugh. Like Gina Curry the other day she used to be on ABC 30 and Fox 2, and she works on the higher education channel now, and so we have her in the studio every Wednesday along with some of the other gals, and we have a good old time. And I got her laughing the other day, and I said, you know, milk is coming out of Gina's nose, which is interesting because she wasn't drinking milk. And they all went, ew! But it's not as bad as Tracy Morgan, formerly of Saturday Night Live and now 30 Rock, because he says when he's doing his stand-up, he wants women to fart. Quote, I want her to laugh so hard it burns. Okay, so if you're Eddie Munster, and you really haven't been able to get a job in 50 years because you were Eddie Munster, and that's your typecast, and that's it. So you got to live the rest of your life on this earth answering questions about what it was like to be on the Munsters. Butch Patrick is now 57 years old. He's in rehab, and apparently he's been struggling with alcohol and drug abuse since he was 17. But it's now been even complicated further because Eddie Munster was dating a former Philadelphia Eagles cheerleader. Now the story gets even weirder than that, because apparently when they were both little kids, she used to write him fan letters when he was on the Munsters, and they were both just tiny kids. So, you know, fast forward to 50 years later, and she and Eddie are both in their 50s. Now she's a former cheerleader for the Philadelphia Eagles. You got to think to yourself, she's at least got something going on, right? So anyhow, they lost touch and then found each other on the internet recently, and they started dating. Again, this is somebody who just wrote fan letters when they were both little kids, and now they find each other on Facebook or something, and now they start hanging out, and I guess they were engaged. They got engaged in July, and she dumped him right after Halloween. Now, if you're like me, you're slightly suspicious that maybe this chick just wanted to parade on the arm of one of the stars of the Munsters for Halloween, and like fake engaged him, and then as soon as Halloween was over, she dumped him like a load of hot bricks. But that's just me. This is like the weirdest story ever. That Harrison Ford Diane Keaton movie opens up today. It's got Rachel McAdams, and people sort of like her. She's hot stuff. But there's a scene in there where she's, it's some sort of sex scene or something, and you need to know that's not her. Okay? They used a butt double, which I'm a little surprised by because I think Rachel McAdams has a fantastic butt. So I don't know what's going on there, or maybe she's just one of those people who ain't going to give it up. So that's pretty much it. All right, a research company by the name of Experience Simmons released a new study of the top 15 most popular TV shows for Democrats and for Republicans. And it's sort of weird because the shows don't match up. Now, you would figure that there might be some crossover, but here are the top 15 TV shows for Republicans. At number 15, 2.5 Men, How I Met Your Mother, The Bachelor tied with Lie to Me for 12th and 13th, NCIS, Desperate Housewives, Dancing with the Stars, Survivor, The Big Bang Theory, The Mentalist, American Idol, Modern Family, Amazing Grace, and the #1 show, Glenn Beck. Now, for Democrats, Breaking Bad is number 15, Parks and Recreation, Friday Night Lights, Law and Order ties with Community for 11 and 12, Damages, The Good Wife, 30 Rock, Private Practice, 90210, Courtney and Chloe Take Miami, Dexter at number 3, Mad Men at number 2, and the #1 show, according to this, Countdown with Keith Olbermann. So if you start looking at this, after Glenn Beck, the rest of the Republican top 15 is filled with popular shows on broadcast TV, while almost half of the Democrats' selections are on cable. The highest rated shows like CSI and Grey's Anatomy, Criminal Minds, and Glee were nowhere to be found. And it's also strange that Glenn Beck and Olbermann were at the top of the two lists, but other politically oriented cable shows like The O'Reilly Factor and The Daily Show didn't even show up. And I find it very, very difficult to put any credence into this survey, because how would The Daily Show not end up in the top 15 of not just Democrats, but also Republicans? Because even, I don't really talk so much politics anymore because I'm sick of it, but when we did on the old show, I used to get email all the time from people who would say, I don't agree with anything you say or any of your stances politically, but we like the discussion and we like hearing the sound bites and we like hearing you guys kick it around. So you figure that out, all right? Speaking of Tracy Morgan, and we were just a little while ago, he has an HBO special this weekend called Tracy Morgan Black and Blue. Scarlett Johansson hosting Saturday Night Live this week. Sarah Palin's Alaska. I gotta tell you, I'm gonna watch it. And I'm gonna watch it not so much for Sarah Palin, although you can just tell that it's going to be loaded with stuff we're going to be able to make fun of. But, Alaska is so beautiful, and it's just... I had a really, really good friend back in the very early 1980s when I was living in Omaha, Nebraska. And he used to take 2 weeks of vacation every year and take a cruise through Alaska for the entire 2 weeks. And back then we had photographs, obviously, and have, just something digital. And the pictures were breathtaking. And I thought to myself, that's maybe something I want to do someday. So I'm going to probably watch this. And another show you might want to watch is the Mark Twain Prize on PBS honoring Tina Fey. That's this weekend too. Jimmy Fallon, John Hamm, Betty White, Steve Carell, Amy Poehler, and Steve Martin will be a part of that show. So you can check that out. Bill Maher tonight has Michael Moore, former Arkansas Governor Mike Huckabee, and Nora Ephron, who was the brains behind Sleepless in Seattle and When Harry Met Sally. Well, 76% of Americans say they stress about money. That is the #1 thing bugging them. Number 2 was the economy, family responsibilities, and relationships. We had a baby a little over a year ago. And anybody who says the birth process is just like, it's so beautiful, it's just such a beautiful moment. Well, you don't know what you're talking about, or you just weren't paying attention, or you were drunk. Because there's really, it's a very gruesome process if you want to know something. And by the time the baby is out, everything is just covered with stuff and blood, and everybody's all sweaty and tired and looking like you just completed a marathon, because that's probably what it feels like. And the drugs are wearing off, and it's not just a really attractive time. Well, apparently these days more and more women are dressing up and wearing makeup when they give birth because they want to look good for their Facebook pictures. Oh, man. And there's a price war going on this holiday season, which is good news for us because the prices keep going down. Yesterday, Walmart fired another shot at the war, giving free shipping on basically everything they sell this holiday season. No minimum purchase required. All right. Client 9 is this movie about Elliot Spitzer. It's not showing here in St. Louis yet, but when it does, I'm told it's the first movie in history where you can actually pay to watch it by the hour. Pay to watch it by the hour. Oh, man. Neil Young turned 65 today, which means in just about 5 years, he'll finally be as old as he has sounded for the last 30 years. And Miss California, Carrie Prejean, is pregnant. We told you that yesterday. She realized she was pregnant when she kept throwing up, but she wasn't thinking about gay people. What else we got? Oh, and another birthday today. Our buddy John Brown from Fox 2, the guy who comes on after me on KTRS, the Big 550 from 1 until 3 o'clock. John celebrating the Big 4-0. I was sort of thinking about what I remember about my 40th birthday. And there was a surprise party for me, and there was just a lot of people. I was working at the River at the time. Remember that radio station, the River? And I was there, and I just was thinking to myself while I was in the shower today, what do I think I know now that I didn't know at 40? And the answer is pretty much everything. I mean, I've said this before, I'll say it again. I don't know how anybody tolerated me up until I was about 45. I'm a little surprised that they even tolerate me now. But where I was at 40 and where I am now, just sort of like in terms of general knowledge and intellectual capacity and just the ability to express myself and just about everything that I do now is exponentially better now, 17 years later, than when I was 40 years old. So, John, you got a lot of ground to cover in the next 17 years. And that's all. Hell, it's the weekend. Let's start early. What do you say? The Video Village will be updated on Monday, and I got some real good stuff for next week, by the way. In the meantime, it's our interview with Albert Brooks for the movie Defending Your Life back in 1991. And on the Wayback Machine, we have an old Slyman Brothers TV commercial from the early 90s. We have a brand new old school photo up for you. Yep, it's not Ilya Kuryakin, but it is the man from U.N.C.L.E., Robert Vaughn, in a picture when he was in St. Louis back in 1994. JC's Eye Candy today. You know, Meghan McCain has been making the rounds on the talk shows and the political talk shows, and she comes off looking very, classy and demure. She wears very expensive clothing, and she's got a nice haircut and just a lot of makeup, and she comes off looking very, very classy, and she's, pushing that conservative agenda. That's fine. But apparently when Meghan is not on TV, she lets her hair down and she lets the girls out. Wait till you see this photograph of Meghan McCain. Wow, is all I'll say. And I want to say to Meghan, you've given us this much. You might as well just give the rest of it up. Come on, give us a cheap thrill. Meghan McCain and a photo on JC's Eye Candy today. Gentlemen, you will love it. All right, that's it. JC's Daily Dose for Friday, November 12th, 2010. A cooperative venture with Mind Active in beautiful downtown Brentwood. Have a great weekend, everybody. Talk to you again on Monday. In the meantime, we've beaten this one to death. Have a good one. See you later. Bye.